Yo, 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 what it do, man? This your boy North End Floyd, man, back with another episode. This is EP 122. We getting up there. We getting up there, man. It's episode 122, man. And this episode is Are Men More Emotional Than Women, man? Because we've been seeing a lot of things happening out there involving men, involving violence, involving all kind of stuff or whatever. So y'all already know what to do, man. Please like, please share it to your people. Please comment. And if you want to call in, you can also call in. Y'all already know the number is 409 233 0017 if y'all want to call in, if y'all disagree with what we're saying and all that type of things and stuff like that. Or if you just want to just comment, you know what I'm saying, you could do that too. But yeah, man, this is gonna be a dope show, man. I got two dope guests. Well, actually, I got three dope guests. I don't know what the other guest said, but he go pop up pretty soon and stuff like that. So, how y'all doing? What's up, Trina?
Hey,
I already know Trina been on the show a lot of time along with Erica, man. So, you know, Erica probably a little comfortable because she usually be like the only female on the show for you know what I'm saying. So,
Women
uh,
United.
Yes, but she hold it down.
she
She
do.
hold on.
She do. She definitely do her thing or whatever. Both of y'all do y'all thing and stuff like that. So, well, what y'all doing? How you doing today, Trina? What's going on with you?
I'm great. Just getting back in the swing of things, just working and just trying to continue on and get through these holidays and everything. Just maintaining,
Hmm.
doing more things in the community. Got some big things coming up that I'm very
Yeah,
excited about. So
for
definitely
sure.
looking forward to you guys finding out about that and still
Hmm.
doing what I do at the Rose and still pushing the merch and everything else. So
Yeah, you just dropped some merch or whatever. Did
yeah,
you?
I dropped a new sweatshirt, so I'm excited about it. It's the first sweatshirt. I like the
Hmm.
colors. It's definitely fall themed, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to get that sweater too because I
I'm
was,
like, sign me up.
yeah, it's dope.
Whatever.
What is it like, maroon and
It's
yellow
like
and
actually it's cherry wine.
oh
Okay,
shit, my
That's
bad,
mine. That's mine.
cherry
Anything with
wine.
wine. That's
it's
that's
cherry
good.
Yeah,
wine,
that
and then
cherry
it has
wine.
more
Mm.
like a cream color with a pop of like a more like a meringue, like an orange, kind of like what you like, Floyd, like that orange
Hmm.
behind you.
Yeah, for sure.
Around it. So it's definitely it's one of the flyest ones for sure. And I still have the other stuff as well, but I'm excited about the sweatshirt for sure.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, I love all the product. Be honest with you, shoot, that pink shirt, it was a little feminine.
It was
Mm.
breast cancer
I
awareness.
was
It's
thinking
supposed
about
to
getting.
be pink.
I was almost gonna get that pink, but I was like, man, But yeah, I feel it's all good. But yo, Erica, what you got going on? What you doing?
It's the first week of my new firm, and I already been up since like
Ooh,
midnight working on my stuff.
you
It's been
firm?
good. My new firm, I love it. So a lot to implement in the next year, but I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, just been chilling, kind of slowly working to get ready to do my little launch for my travel agency I've been working on. So I'm excited to really put it out there, but that's in the works. So already got bookings. It's been steady. It's been busy, but good.
Yeah, yeah. You go. You ain't forgot about me though, right?
I got everything.
Okay, all right. That's what's up for sure.
I got four to
Oh,
do this week.
there he go,
You on mute? You on
man,
mute?
What
Hey.
what up, man? What up?
man, bruh.
Hey, bro, I was eating, man. I was came on mama crib and I was eating.
Mama said,
Started,
mama said you better eat first before you do anything.
Hey.
bro, nah, I was just sitting here eating, man. And I said, when Erica text me, I said, "Oh shit, let me hurry up."
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
so
I was in
glad
there.
I texted you because then you wouldn't have.
It
Oh man.
It would have been 8:45. He would have been like,
would have been about 8:20. It would have been about
Definitely.
8:20.
for sure, man. Man, who's that texting me, man? What is looking like? Who is that? Who said that? My bad, man. I gotta be more. Oh, that's my boy. That's my boy. My boy Bub hit me up. Shout out to my boy Bub. Shout out to Mr. Terry, man. You know what I'm saying? He say he hope y'all have a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year and stuff like that.
Same to
Um,
you.
Appreciate.
yeah,
Yes.
for sure,
Same
for
to you.
sure. Oh, my girl Yasmin Garcia from New York in the building. Felice Navidad.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we doing right now, man. So Ken, man, I hit you with the questions, man. You was loving it.
Yeah, bro. I mean, honestly, bro, you came with that thunder. Hey, I like them questions, bro.
Oh,
I
One
love it.
a few of them was a couple you
Mhm.
suggested on the
I,
on the
I mean, Look, bro, honestly, I think it's just challenging men to be better, man. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of times on the show we talking about women, we talking about relationships, but for a change, I think we need to challenge brothers to step up.
Mm. I always feel that way too, because I think that, you know what I'm saying, as far as us being leaders, you know what I'm saying, we need to step up and, you know what I'm saying, have more accountability and stuff like that for our actions and stuff. So I think it goes
Definitely.
as far as what, you know, what we present, you know. So, you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. But y'all ready to start these questions and stuff, man?
So let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
let's do it.
go.
Like I
Let's
said, man,
go.
like I said, man, if y'all want to chime in on these questions, if y'all want to call, y'all do not have to say your real name. You do not have to say where you're from. You know, you could be anybody you want. You could call in, voice your opinion on whatever topic we might be talking about. The number's down below 409 233 0017. This is also on YouTube. So if y'all get off of Facebook and y'all want to see something on YouTube, this is on YouTube too. You could comment on that too. But you know, this show is about, are men more emotional than women? And before we start commenting, that's how we got a therapist on the show, Miss Trina. Can you tell people, like, you know what I'm saying, as far as like the therapy, like what all you do, just in case people like, ooh, what does she do? Can I call her? Like, what can I do with that?
Okay, so basically, I provide cognitive behavior therapy, trauma therapy. EMDR is one of the trauma therapies that I perform. There's dialectical behavior therapy. So those are different types of therapies that I do perform. I service ages 12 and up. I also do couples counseling as well, anger management classes. I've done individual anger management classes as well as group. So it just depends. And lastly, consultations when it comes to like businesses. So if there's a business owner that has a staff that they want to do like team building and things like that, then that's what I provide as well at the Rose Center. So if anyone else wants to get in contact with me, you can catch me on my Facebook pages. It's at the Rose Center BMT. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram by that handle, or you can go through my website, which is www.therosecenter-bmt.com.
Courtney Wynn said, "Are you local?" It don't matter.
But I do virtual as well. So thank you for that question. I am local, but you can also do virtual services, which as long as you're on Texas soil, I can provide services for you in that way.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Appreciate you, Courtney Wynn. She's been tuning into the show a few times. Shout out to Ashley Williams too. Ashley Williams, you need to call or something. You've been on here a lot of times. You need to call or try to come be a guest or something, because you be doing your thing on here. But so to get on with the show, man, you know what I'm saying? Are men more emotional than women, and why? Who wanna tackle that first? Are we more emotional? We can be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. She threw Ken out there.
I was like,
she said Ken. Oh, damn, Ken.
I'm gonna say nowadays, I would say yes, we are more emotional. When shit ain't going our way, when relationships ain't going right, it tends to be more men get more emotional, voicing things on Facebook, taking it to Facebook, taking it to social media. And most women, they keeping everything hush mouth. They moving on about their business. Men crying, men sad. They telling their homeboys about it. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're more emotional because we can't. When we hurt, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that sometimes it don't even have to be a serious relationship. It could just be a chick you care about. It could be a chick that you slept with, and you find out that she talking to one of your homeboys. You get all distorted. You know, you want to fight people. You want to shoot people. So yeah, I think we are way more emotional, bro.
I like what Jackie said. She said we try to hide it, but we love hard and we hurt harder.
Yes, sir.
And you know, like as far as like emotional go, you know what I'm saying? It's even like when we sick, you know, women be like, oh, y'all be so babyish, and you know what I'm saying? When we sick, we want to get comfort and all that type of stuff, you know. But I think you're all right. I think men are more emotional because you do see it. I don't know about the women, you know what I'm saying? I don't know about women not posting, you know what I'm saying, they situations more, because I be seeing it. But I think you're all right. I think men are more emotional. From what we're seeing on
hey Floyd,
they presented it.
I'm gonna put the reason why I say we're more emotional. We wear our feelings on our sleeve. A lot of times when a woman hurt a man, I promise you're gonna hear about it. I mean, most of the time, yeah. I mean, when a woman and either cheated on a man or whatever, shit, he gonna try to ruin her name. He gonna tell everybody about her. I mean, most of the time when a woman, shit, it's a normal thing for them. They just keep on moving like nothing happened. Shit, she gonna find another dude the next day and she gonna keep it moving.
Oh, you
That's
think
not
you
true for
think
everybody.
they cold-hearted like that?
No.
I think women cold-hearted, bro.
Let's go.
I think they cold-hearted, bro. They move like that, bro.
No,
F
listen.
and F.
I
Shit, that's
think
their theme song.
And you know what I'm about to tell you, Ken. This is what we talked about the other day. Whenever you ask me a question, I'm not ever going to answer it from like a very surface level place, especially when it comes to being a human being in general. Everything has always tied and rooted into something deep, even if it seems very light, or so to speak. So to me, like, I'm not necessarily going to say that a man's level of emotion is actually tied to a woman. It's something much deeper going on with that man. And if you think about what's happened since 2020, no offense, like everything we was already going through, 2020, especially like in our community with our Black men, it put y'all on y'all's butt.
That's what Bear said.
But it exposed y'all on such a level. And I think what has happened since then, because you know, we're going into year 3. Wait, 2020. Yeah, year 3, right? Okay, whatever. We're going into a year where a lot of you still like pride. Well, he's about to say pride all busted. You are super exposed, and you've been exposed, and you've been trying to exist, but you've never addressed those issues that have come since you've been exposed. Like, you haven't done the healing work to get there. So it's gonna look like, oh man, he's all sensitive not over these women. Like, and it's unfortunate when you see like the article the other day about the man killing his partner and his kid, you know, whatever, like the murder suicide. It's not specifically tied within the relationship, because before you can actually be in a healthy relationship, you have to be whole yourself. So there's a lot of stuff that there are a lot of internal elements to this question to me when it comes to, and even for women, but when the question right now is about men. And I feel like the level of emotion that men have been going through is because in so many ways you've been exposed, you've been hit hard, and you have not been able to bounce back. For those men who are showing this level of emotion, because I do think it has increased more and with men than what we're normal to seeing. And then if you think about it, in some areas it looks like it's getting progressively worse, but it's a good thing. And I think that when these men do take a moment, and if they do have a breakdown, be it on social media, unfortunately, instead of getting the support, they might get that, oh, you know, man, you weak for this, you know, you need to toughen up, you need to get a thick skin. And what does that do? That further adds more damage to what it's already been exposed.
I like what Bear said. He said, you know, we're more emotional than what women may think we are and stuff like that. But you know what? On a certain point too, as far as being emotional, some guys, they don't want to be emotional because they can get hurt like that.
What is y'all definition of emotional? Because I think that's my issue. Like when y'all say emotional, because I think that we're all emotional because we're emotional beings. Are y'all saying that men are showing their emotions more? Because I mean, if you go back and I always go back to like pop culture and stuff. Do y'all remember the songs that we be listening to that our parents used to listen to, and all that begging and crying and all that stuff that they used to do?
Ken love that type of music too, boy.
You know, I face light up. Like they begging,
Al Green.
You know, so I'm just trying to understand, like, what do we mean by emotional? Are we talking about being emotionally expressive? You know, because people do.
That's what I'm talking about.
Getting hurt.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dudes' feelings been getting hurt, and the stuff that we're seeing now is just that we have to admit that social media is a platform where now we're seeing it. Everybody's seeing it, but we all have people, you know, we even in high school where you see where a dude and a girl might have been dating or whatever the case is, and everybody knew when they were at odds, and even his teammates knew when something was up. It wasn't a secret if your basketball buddy or was having issues with his main girl or his girl or whatever. You knew. You know what I'm saying? But if we're talking about them being more expressive, it also sounds like you guys are more leaning towards them being more expressive in a negative way, right? Like y'all saying now they're starting to lash out and do all these things, right?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. I'm saying all of that plays a part.
We just see it now. Everybody gets to see it more, but you know, people been wilding, and not even just men, just people.
I mean, I agree with you, but I will say I feel like I have seen a bit more increase of like emotional aggression towards men than we have in the past, even with social media. But like I would say in the last couple of years, I feel like there's been an uptick of it.
Emotional aggression towards them.
Towards themselves, like you can tell they're hurting, like with Scrappy,
Yes.
you know, and then like posting, post like I'm not okay and things of that sort. Like you never really seen it, but I feel like it's been an uptick. You would see it occasionally, or like you might catch them in a setting where they're friends and they might say it, but on the social media platform, I do think there has been an increased display of this level of emotion, because I have always advocated that it's very healthy for a man to be emotional, in a sense, like it's okay to cry. It's okay.
Yeah. I see what Jasmine's saying. She said most men are taught from a young age.
Absolutely.
I was never taught that by my dad, and I never taught my son that, to hide your emotions and stuff like that.
But a lot of people are told that, like men don't cry. Like if a young man hurts himself, buck up, boys don't cry. You know what I'm saying? If a child hurts themselves or a boy hurts himself, it's like, you not hurt. It's like, but he is. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the issues that, that's one of the things that leads to issues like emotion dysregulation, where I don't even know how to regulate my emotions because I'm being told what I feel when I'm clearly saying this is what I feel, but I'm being told, no, you don't. So that actually teaches a person that they don't know how they feel. So then you grow up and now you're in situations with other people and you still do not know how to either identify or express how you feel appropriately. So if you continue to do that and you're misunderstood, then that starts that whole hamster wheel of issues, because now, as many people are alluding to, men don't feel like they have a safe space to express their emotions. So I'm not going to make it like they haven't been exploited, right? I'm not going to make it like, men have not had some experiences where they've been vulnerable and it's been used against them. True. And those types of things. So I'm not going to get on here and act like that's not the case. Right. And so creating a safe space for a man to feel like they can express how they're feeling without judgment is going to be absolutely necessary. But again, for me, it's like, I don't think that they're more emotional. I think that right now in the climate that we're in, where mental health is being respected more, where it's people like us who are promoting the expression of emotions, no matter what your gender is, your walk of life. People like, Ken saying, hey, I was taught that, but now he's on here talking about how, and it sounds like that's what you're saying, that it's okay to grow up and to mature in that way, to grow up and mature emotionally and to express how you feel, right? Because emotions tell you what's happening. Honestly, that's what emotions do. They tell you what's happening. And how am I going to tell you what's happening to me if I can't express how I'm feeling? Right. So I think that that's really the big thing, is that some men are actually feeling more comfortable expressing their emotions. Now, other ones, I'll be honest, the aggressiveness where they're lashing out, that is emotional immaturity. And so whether they are feeling, more open to expressing or not, we definitely need to help them with how to express their emotions in an appropriate way. But I honestly think that they just are finding more safer spaces, or they're being given more safer spaces to express.
Right.
Ken, who taught you that? Your mom or your dad?
Nah, my old man was always telling me, like, don't ever let a person see you crying. Like I said, definitely not, a woman, like, don't ever cry in front of a woman. It could be whatever. It just was never supposed to cry. Yeah. And it could be a certain situation. I remember when my old man passed, bro, I was hurting. But I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't want to cry. At the time I was dating a girl and I never cried in front of her. So the thing was, and this is on the same topic. Like, I didn't want to show my emotion. I didn't want to let her know, how bad I was hurting. I wanted to act like shit, I was good. But when she wasn't around by myself, that's when usually, I shedded tears. That's when I broke down. But anytime she would come around, shit, I would never show that. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that a lot of time men don't want to show their emotions because it's a fear or insecurity that woman will take what you give her and use it against you. Right. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the number one thing.
Yeah. So it's like, if you show a person where you hurt at, and you like, okay, that person will come in and touch that scar or that bruise or whatever it is that's hurting you, and they'll use that to hurt you. So a lot of men don't tend to open up because they don't want that woman to use that that information to hurt you later on down the road.
I
Because
mean,
sometimes I've seen that happen time and time again, where you forgive a woman all of this data on you. And if things ain't going right in their relationship or something happened, she'll turn around and shoot you with them same bullets that you gave her.
and
Yeah.
see, this brings me back to the when should you leave a relationship thing, whatever that we had a while ago. And to me, I feel like in a relationship with a man or woman, my man said, "Well, I'm afraid to communicate this." This is like, what levels of communication have you done with your partners, where you both should be in a position to be able to be vulnerable with each other. And if you feel that you can't be vulnerable with your partner and you can't communicate that, your relationship is going to struggle. And inevitably probably end, because you should be able to be in that space. If there's no one else, you should be able, if you cannot confide with anyone else, it should always be your partner, especially if you marry this person. You know what I'm saying? So
Especially if you marry, if you marry him, yeah.
on having the utmost vulnerability.
I mean, that sounds good, Erica. It really does. That sound how it's supposed to be picture perfect. But if we're gonna keep it 100, a lot of times that's not how it goes, and we know
But
that.
that's you could accountability. But the thing is, when you say something like that, you give excuse to it. The reality is, this is why the relationship won't work. Y'all didn't do the work together to create that vulnerability.
I think if the relationship is healthy, then I think you can.
You
know, the guy and the female,
yeah.
You should be able to
overshare though. Like I think sometimes people overshare as well. You know what I'm saying? I think that, if it's something that and I get that sometimes you are going to try to find that space and everybody needs someone to ventilate to, but sometimes you sharing, like people will share things with their side person. We're not even going to get into this pillow talk. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. You feeling good. Y'all got a good vibe going and you just running your mouth. And then all of a sudden when time comes, when it comes back up, you expecting loyalty and respect and all that. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
That's society.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like, even when you have someone that you're pursuing or whatever, sometimes you just overshare. And sometimes, to be honest, people just, you get comfortable.
Exactly.
Your inhibitions are down and you just like, man, you just vibing it. So you start talking. My thing is, at the end of the day, if someone throws something back at you that bothers you, that burns or whatever, then that gives you indication that you might need to talk to somebody about that. You know what I'm saying? Because that bothers you. And I know that a young lady was saying, I know we're focusing on men, but the thing is, it is vice versa.
Unknown caller.
Those jugs, they come from both genders, all whatever. They does.
I'm sorry, Trina. I think we got a caller. We got a caller.
Yeah, let me in, Floyd.
Yeah, we got a call. Who called? Who this?
Hey, this Jesus. What's up, Floyd?
What's good, man?
I'm just saying, hey, how you do? What's up, Ken?
What's good? What's good?
Man, for some reason I timed on, I hit the live button and y'all talking about emotions in a relationship.
No doubt. No, what you gotta say about that?
So, I say a man's emotion is all about the circumstance and his relationship. The environment that you were brought up in, it plays a part in that. Mm-hmm. If your relationship is healthy and vibing, your emotions are real good. But soon as that one time something happens, your emotions change. So you can feel some type of way. But if you're in a healthy relationship with another person, emotions, I mean, they vary day to day, honestly. So you can't just base it on one instant or one person. But over time, you do feel that the emotions of that person and that relationship, how they're going to go. And just, man, emotions, they change. You can change somebody's emotions by acts of kindness, act of aggression, act of anything that goes on in the life. So, man, this is a vital topic about emotions.
Yeah,
it's more of, I would more say it's more mental health than emotions. So if you're mentally stable or mentally in a great place, then your emotions can be at a good place and time. So, man, just appreciate the topic. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing.
I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, bro, I'm gonna let TR finish what she was saying, but I want to say this before we, before I let her finish. I believe you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable to love. Like, so to love is like opening your heart up to get hurt. So if you're gonna protect yourself and keep everything closed off, you're never gonna give a person a chance to enter. So you have to. It's kind of like a fighter. You can't fight if you're gonna be on defense all the time. You gotta open up yourself to getting hit. At some point, you're gonna get hurt. At some point, a woman's going to break your heart. But in order to love, you have to allow that to happen. Being vulnerable, exposing, putting it all out there. Like I have a cousin, like, because he got hurt, everything now is defense. And you go miss your blessing being on the defense. Like, you're not letting nobody in because you got so many barriers up. And to love, you have to expose. You got to let your heart be vulnerable to getting hurt again.
Yeah,
that's true. I mean, I agree with that for sure, wholeheartedly. But there's a balance to it all. What I said was that it's oversharing. There's levels to this, so it's a matter of, you know, gradually sharing, and then, like Erica was alluding to, if you are careful, right, and deliberate, then you may not actually overshare to the point where you end up with somebody that's going to weaponize everything that you said to them, because you will be aware that this is probably not the person for me to confide in. That's what I'm saying. But I totally agree with you. You have to open up. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be vulnerable. But how do you deal with vulnerability? How do you deal with when you are violated in that way? If you're not mature enough to handle what comes with being hurt. Because someone said, I think it was a guy, Desmond, he was saying that's why people end up, you know, killing people and being aggressive, because you don't know how to handle that. So I'm not vulnerable. I'm like, but let's work on having some tools in place for if this should happen, because there's a chance it will. Everybody.
But those people that's never been through it either, though, those people that never successfully handled a breakup,
they need to schedule a team to
give
them the
But
tools.
hey, let me go back to a question that Nisha said. She says there's such thing as oversharing in your relationship.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is a such thing as oversharing.
Yes.
I think so. In your marriage, though, I don't think so. In marriage,
I think in your marriage, in any relationship, certain things, like I said, I don't think that I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't think that what I did in high school or elementary,
not that part.
I don't think that who I dated or who I slept with in high school mattered as an adult, mattered in my marriage. I'm just saying, like, none of that shit. I don't even talk about.
A woman. When the body count?
I honestly, I don't even count it for a woman. If I knew you in school and I knew what you was doing, but I'm not gonna ask you to tell me everybody you slept with since high school when I meet you. Only if I saw it with my own two eyes while I was walking the halls with you and I knew what you was doing, does that matter to me. But if I don't know you and we never talked in high school, I'm not gonna ask you to tell me who you slept with in high school. That doesn't matter to me. Even if somebody was to try to share that with me, oh, you know, she dated such and such. I don't count that. I don't count high school. I don't even count middle school. I don't count none of that shit no more. The only thing I count from, if you was 25 and I met you, you had a husband or whatever, I count that, but I don't count high school shit no more. I don't count that no more.
My thing is this: at the end of the day, I'm gonna say there is a such thing as oversharing, because I think sharing should be intentional. Like, what are you sharing for? So the oversharing to me is when you're sharing stuff that is not adding to the relationship. It has the potential to actually harm it more than help. You know your partner, right? Especially if we're talking about marriage. The hope is that you're learning your person. I don't want to say that you know them to that extent, because we evolve. So hopefully you guys are relearning each other every day, and you're just trying to be. I think you should approach it being open to continuing to learn your person, because we change. Like, if you be like, I just know how she is or he is, you might miss something. But when it comes to what you're sharing, it's like, why are you sharing it though? Like, is it to add to us? Are we chilling? We vibing? We just sharing stories?
Well,
if you feel like you know your person well enough to where what you're sharing would potentially bother them or cause issues for them, and there's no purpose behind it but just to share, then why are you sharing it? I'm
gonna have to tell you, I appreciate when like I said, my wife even was like, you know, shared everything with me, because it was no secrets. Now, like I said, therefore it was no surprises.
I'm
now
confused,
you don't.
Kim.
No, I'm saying she didn't. No, I'm saying, tell me what you confused about. I'm saying I like when she did that. I didn't ask for it, but I'm saying she did it.
But when you said there's no secrets, like, we get that. To me, oversharing is like, I'm married to my husband. He don't care about the last 20 discussions I had with my girlfriends. That's, to me, that's like oversharing. Like, it's not conducive.
Yeah, no. I don't care about none of that shit.
The longevity of my relationship. So to me, when I think oversharing, is anything that's not fundamentally contributing to the growth of my relationship.
But if my wife does tell me something about your gay girlfriends or something like that, I'm gonna listen. I'll be like, oh yeah, babe, yeah. yeah, you know, I'ma listen because
Give
you
it up
know,
for the tea sessions. Okay.
yeah. Oh,
No,
oh
but see,
yes,
I
girl.
See, I'm
want to
not
know. See,
talking about that. I'm not talking about the
what you
banter.
talking about though?
Hold
What you
on,
was gonna say?
Ken.
I'd like
Whoa.
to know.
She's trying to
Okay.
get her to talk. Let her talk.
I'm not talking about like just the banter and because that's your mate is your friend, that's your partner, that's your homie.
Yeah.
I'm saying when it comes to when I think of oversharing, I'm talking about things that have to do with me personally and things from my past and things that maybe from their past and the things like that I know could potentially cause issues. It's not that if they don't know it, it's gonna cause an issue, right?
Mhm.
But if they do know it, it could, you know what I'm saying, that it's not gonna, that's what I'm saying. The problematic stuff, like the only purpose that it serves is to cause an issue for us. Then why am I sharing this? Even when if I don't share it, it ain't gonna cause no issue.
To be
You
honest
know what
with
I'm
you,
saying?
to be honest with you, I was talking to this chick and she overshared so much information. It turned me off. It made me not talk to her because she every time I talked to her, she always brought up her problems and her issues. Even if
Right.
I'd be like, "Hey, let's go out" or something like that, she would start talking about issues and problems, and I'd be like, "You know what? Something came up." It
The
just
drag, it drags you down.
it just spoiled my mood for. And we didn't progress because of that. That was one of the main reasons because she kept oversharing her problems, and it was like,
You guys
Nah, I
didn't
get it.
and you didn't have that strong foundation yet.
no, we didn't have no
No,
foundation
yeah,
at all.
exactly. And that's why I say you have to know, like, is this appropriate for this
Yeah,
level?
right,
Now,
right.
again, for you, it's just interesting how you made sure to preface that there's a line
Ooh, she
for where
breaking you
you
down.
share, and then you flipped and was like, but my wife told me everything and I appreciate it. I'm like, well,
Oh,
No,
she
I did no. But
she
see, you didn't let me
dissected
finish
you.
that thought. No, what I was saying was I appreciate it, but I didn't want to know it. It wasn't like I asked. She told me, and I listened. But therefore, what I was trying to, before I finished that thought, I was like, whenever she told me, it just left me to where it wasn't going to be no surprises. So if a woman that overshares certain information, yeah, it would kind of turn me off, but it depends on what are you sharing. If you're sharing something that you feel like, okay, well, I want to tell you this because I don't want you to find out from someone else, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it'll cause us to break up. Or because knowing type of man that I am, we are prideful. We don't want to feel like we with someone that everybody didn't been with. So therefore, you definitely need to know certain information. So that's what I was saying. Like you know what I'm saying. People gonna talk. If I'm saying it's Beaumont, Texas, so people gonna talk who you with.
People
Or
always say that.
Mhm.
no, I'm being real with you. It is a fact. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a fact. Beaumont is small, and in our age bracket, we probably know mostly everybody in the 30s and 40s.
85%.
Yeah, if you don't know them, somebody in your circle know them. So therefore, they're gonna bring back information to you. So when you say overshare, I think it's very important to give me the meat. I don't need the juice. Just give me the meat.
I don't know. You might care about this. You remind me of that Drake song where he's like, "Is anything I'm doing brand new or something?" I don't know. I remember how it went.
That's a throwback. That's a throwback for real.
Yeah, I didn't heard that one.
I ain't never heard that one.
That's a throwback.
I ain't heard that one. I might have to go
I heard
research
that
that
one.
one.
Oh yeah,
When I find it,
it's
I'ma
a
drop
ditty. It's a bop, but it's an old one though. Boy, she went way back. I'm talking about way back.
That's
Okay,
all
so-
that's in my head.
So let's get on to the why do people resort to violent behaviors after a breakup or a divorce? Since we talking about the emotional thing,
Emotional immaturity.
emotional immaturity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why do y'all think people resort to violent behavior after a breakup? Because Ken, you just shared an article about a guy, he was dating a female for 8 months, and they broke up, and he went, he shot the girl, and he shot her daughter.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And he was 22. Right.
Yeah, bro.
And that's young. Like seriously, that is, especially when the stuff that you guys have already talked about, right? How you were taught. You know what I'm saying? At 22, you didn't just abandon everything that you were taught coming up. You still trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And some people, do you know what comes from a person that is raised by somebody who is also emotionally immature? Chances are another person that is emotionally immature. So when you grow up, the way that you're raised teaches you either how you would like to be or how you would not like to be, right? It's like when you grow up in a household, let's say you take different things with you and you leave some things with you, right? So let's say you might like how your mom makes chicken, right? So you go home and you got your own place and you like, this is how I make my chicken because this is how my mom always made it, right? But then you might be like, I'm never buying peas. I hate peas. Peas will never make it in my house because you don't like that, right? So you take and pick and choose what you would like to have. But when it comes to things like how I handle my emotions, how I express my anger and all those things, you see it, whether you're taught directly or indirectly, how anger and things like that are handled. And you learn from it. And so the hope is that if it is unhealthy or inappropriate or whatever the case, that you choose not to because you see what the product of that was. But everybody doesn't do that. They just kind of go with it because this is just what we do. This is how we handle things. So then you have somebody who is emotionally immature that treats people like toys. Mine, that's mine. Nobody can tell me that's not mine. And if I'm hurt, then I'm going to hurt you. And so hurt people. That's not just a phrase or a cliche. That's a real thing. And 9 times out of 10, when someone is hurt, they try to hurt the person worse. It's like, oh, you hurt me, I'm gonna try to go above and beyond, which is why if you notice that story, that girl is still here. Her daughter is gone.
Her daughter, he shot the daughter.
Her siblings saw that. So they're like, oh, he only shot one. The article 6, I read it when you posted it, Ken. And they said the other 2 wasn't harmed. Yes, they were. Oh, they were harmed.
Mentally too.
They were very harmed. They will probably never, ever forget that vision for the rest of their lives because they saw that. So people have to understand, how does this stuff happen? Because harm and pain and abuse and all of those things is way far more than just physical. That's the issue. We have to stop thinking on a physical level like that. My
boy JD, he asked a question earlier. He said, how do you grow emotionally?
Therapy.
I think just experience.
Yeah, I think all of the above. Therapy, I mean, even as a therapist, I know everybody's not ready for therapy. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that. But you can go on a journey, right? You have experiences. You have experiences. Everybody have experiences. You're living, you're having experiences. So trying to learn from your experiences, reflection is key. Reflection. How did that go? What role did I play in it? What role did they play in it? And actually taking something from that and applying it to your next situation. So it's really just about experiencing as well. I just think you just have to be paying attention, and you have to be willing to learn.
You know what? I
was gonna say that.
I got some Facebook friends I'm not really close to. I know the guy though, and they're constantly, him and his wife is constantly going at it on Facebook. They constantly, going Facebook Live or making posts and stuff like that. And then what you said is like how you're raised. Your kids is seeing this, so when they get older, they're gonna damn near do what their parents was doing. So
I know they probably gonna do
I might have to. I told, and I think Trina, I told you as far as they want to reach out for some help and stuff like that. And I think as far as like for me, I think I'm gonna extend the olive branch and tell him like, look, bro, you know what I'm saying? I know you reached out earlier and stuff like that. I think you still need to go ahead and make that happen because, you know what I'm saying, what you and your wife is going through is affecting your kids in ways that you might not even know. I mean, from what we're seeing right now on the news and with the guy and the girl and even Tory Lanez and Megan and all this type of stuff that's happening and stuff like that. I think that, I think it's vital to have like some kind of therapeutic or some therapy and stuff like that, which Black people still kind of shun for some reason.
Well, and I mean, you know what? And this is gonna sound real ancient. I'm gonna tie it back to the way we was initially brought into this country. We had to keep our heads low and do what the slave owners told us to do, if that makes sense, right? We didn't really ask. We just knew we knew we had a place to be in. But the thing is as we evolved in so many ways mentally, we haven't. Like, you need to have that curiosity. Like we say, like, how do you grow emotionally? And what T said, you need to want to learn. When you start learning about your life, like outside of your city, outside of your culture, and you just start embracing, like learning things in different areas, it makes you take those pieces and you know what? I like this, and I never really thought about this in this aspect, and I'm gonna bring that back into my life. And I will say the one thing that I think that was a blessing to me being raised in a blended family is that, yes, I had an aspect of the Black community, but learning that also that different family element from my dad's family, like his family is Asian. So it's like, and then the dynamics when you think about different cultures, they're so different. so different, and you could learn so much, and you could learn so much about yourself or things that you want to put in your life from other cultures at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just can't be a product of our environment, a product of our town, a product of our city. You know, we need to want to expand. Even if we never go to that other country, there's things in that other country, just getting on YouTube or being a part of forums, that you can learn, and it just puts a light bulb in your head and say, you know what, I'm gonna apply that to my life or my lifestyle, and it make you a better person.
They got to be open to it though. That's the only thing. They just
Wait.
got to be
That's
open to it.
yeah, that
Well, you know, Floyd, you know, my spin on this is when I posted that article, number one, you know what I'm saying, it broke my heart to just read about it, to know that this actually happened. But the second thing that crossed my mind is these things happen here in Beaumont, Texas. The same type of thing like happens here. It just that happened there, but it's not uncommon to hear something like that happen in Beaumont. Because actually, I mean, a few years ago, something like that happened out here, where a husband killed his wife, where a 18-year-old killed his girlfriend. Like these things are happening across the world. It just that happened at that point of time that caught my eye. And so what it makes me realize is that
Was that in Houston?
I think that was in Houston. Yeah, that was in Houston.
Okay.
That was in Houston. But I'm saying we've had several shootings like that here in Beaumont. Yeah. And so what it makes me realize is that, I mean, here it is. It can start with in home. It start with teaching your children. Like, I want my children to go through heartbreak. I want my children to date. I want them to experience that at a young age, so they will know. Like, I mean, for me, when I got my first heartbroken, I mean, it wasn't a situation where I was like, oh, I'm gonna go kill somebody. It was when my dad taught me about, hey, son, you know, that's gonna happen. You know, now you know what it is you find, you know, you're gonna find your way. Just find someone else later down the road that's for you. And just understand, like, it's nobody right now that's serious that you should be wanting to, you know, cry behind or, you know, get your heart broke behind. Those things happen. And it was of my father's teaching and my mother just seeing that, you know, my dad had got a divorce and seeing how he, you know, I ain't gonna say he overcame it. It was a situation where he struggled with until he passed. He was never completely over that divorce because he loved my mama that much. But it was a situation where I looked at every day to say, you know what I'm saying, how can I be better? You know, and so a lot of times you have to do the work and you have to look at those examples. If you haven't had a good example of, you know, how to overcome a breakup, how to overcome a divorce, you're going to resort back to what you saw. If you saw your dad beating your mom, if you saw, you know what I'm saying, a stepdad or whatever, those behaviors going to be rooted in you to where now is a control issue now. So if a woman want to leave you, insecurity creates fear. So that fear of that woman leaving you is going to drive you to a point where you're not even thinking. You're not even thinking, if I do this, then what? Because now fear have taken over your body, your mind. You're not even thinking. Because I promise you can ask any dude that's in jail right now. Had you thought 1 second what you was doing, did you think about it? The probably answer they're gonna be like, no, I didn't think about it. You actually got to do the thought process of like, what would happen if I do this? Like, nah, I got my kids. It ain't worth it. You know, if you really love a woman, at some point, I love you so much, I'd rather you to leave you than hurt you. If I really love you, I'd rather see you be happy with someone else than to kill you and put you 6 feet under. I don't understand that part.
Especially if y'all got kids together.
I mean, I'm confused. And then you kill your kids too. I mean, my mind, and like I say, I understand mental health is real. Yeah. But when you was creating these kids, was mental health still there? When you was,
but it's no different than hurt people. You have hurt people who live in their life and they don't even know how hurt they are. They're just existing day to day, and it's gradually getting worse. And I mean, and for this one, I feel like one perception I also have when I think about this question is like, especially with the people being so young, you're in your 20s, taking relationships this seriously to this extent, and you don't even know yourself. You just beginning to live life. But I feel like the younger generation is putting such serious focus in the wrong areas, if that makes sense. Like in this instance, if they would take that focus, let me be serious about being selfish for me. Yeah, that's great, so to speak, things for me. But there's this element, and I also feel like part of the things that I see also are people being shamed for being happy being single. You know, like they give you this element that you should want to be with somebody. You need to go, you need to work towards, get in a relationship. And I'm like, at the end of the day, if you're not healed internally and you're not a whole person, how you gonna put yourself in a relationship and say if you meet a whole person but they're not mentally sound, then you destroy this person. You make this person worse. This person becomes a hurt person just like you are a hurt person. Do you hear what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's
Mhm.
what
Sure.
question I have.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question, man. This one's a little. This was gonna be the title of the show, but I was gonna say, I said, nah. Can getting cheat on be your fault? Can that be your fault for you to get cheat on?
So you basically a person being blamed for another person's actions.
Yeah.
That's the question.
I mean, when you break it down like that, I mean, could it be your fault that you got cheated on?
So that's the question.
That's the
A
question.
person can be blamed for another person's actions.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it. I could see
This
you.
was my question.
It wasn't Ken's question. It wasn't.
Let's
my
be
question.
clear.
It
Let's
was
be
my-
clear. Well,
it
okay.
was my
Obviously,
question.
I guess you kind of picked up on my answer. No, because you can always leave.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
Nobody
I
can
agree.
fix
I
your
agree.
head.
I can see how you may feel like they have influenced you. So let me just be clear because I see yeses and all of that. Okay, that's fine. Here's the deal. If you don't like how you're being treated, leave.
Simple.
You understand? Oh, it's not that easy. Oh, okay. It's not that easy. Well, then in that case, you're choosing not to leave and you're choosing to cheat.
Is
You're
that narcissism?
choosing to cheat. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like you may have some things that you're unhappy about, but we have decisions, we have choices on how we choose to respond to that unhappiness. And some of those options include cheating, but there's still a choice that you made. You chose to respond to whatever discrepancies or anything that you were unhappy about. You chose to respond to it by violating the confines of your relationship. You chose to. Now, was the other person's actions potentially what you're going to try to blame it on? Because I use the word blame purposely. Yes, I did. So
Is that a form of narcissism? What Nisha said.
but what she's saying that when she says that, how so? I mean, I know a lot of people think that narcissism is just self-centered, so much more than that. But
yeah.
If she's saying it, then I guess so.
A little bit more. I feel like that word is used a little bit more than what it actually applies to.
Yeah, but I think that at the end of the day, like, if she's saying that the person is being selfish when they do it, then maybe so. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you can leave. I'm not gonna stop saying that, by the way, because you can leave.
I mean,
bottom line.
I mean, to me, at the end of the day, my sentiment is no, it's not my fault. But to be devil's advocate, to aid to those who feel that yes is the answer, I can see where it would seem applicable when you're in a relationship with your partner and you want to be with that person and that person's not meeting you halfway, and they might be selfish, like maybe withholding sex or withholding emotional connection. Like I can see it's like, well, you drove me into the arms of this other person,
really, because
you deprived me of that. But
really,
but essentially, at the end of the day, that was a decision you chose to stay with. Like, they say when a person shows you who they are, and if like, this is what I need, it's kind of like the love languages. What you need to emotionally feed yourself within a relationship. And if you know that this person is not going to provide it for you, even if say they did it, and I think that's what people get the confusion is from, is because like maybe in the beginning of the relationship, which could be like the first 6 months, a year, 2 years, you've invested so much time to where now things might change and you feel there's an obligation from this person to be consistent, when in reality this person has just changed.
And you said the main word you said is consistent, because you might tell them what you want and be like, all right, for the first week they'll give you what you want, and then it goes back.
So leave.
Right. And that's the whole thing. So it's like, and that's like because
I really don't think it's that easy.
No, it's not. We're not saying it's that easy.
But your actions, essentially, if essentially it's no one's fault but the person who did the action. if that makes sense. Because you could have removed yourself. Remove yourself just because like y'all live together, y'all pay bills together and all this other stuff. Like I get like, you know, like I'm sorry, time to split up the bills. Like, you know what, I love you, but you're not giving it to me the way I need you to. I want to be able to do this. Like, you work too much. The income and what you do for me, this is not what I need from you as a partner. It no longer is a healthy, conducive relationship for me. So better than me go cheat on you, I'm gonna step out. I'm gonna step out. Like, I'm out. Not step out, cheat. I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna remove myself from the relationship.
Wow, the work too much thing, man. That kind of sucks when you get left. When she leave you because you work too much.
It happens.
Ken, did we talk about that before?
No, but there are people who work too much and they still make effort in the relationship. You can
no, but I mean, I've actually heard of an actual specific situation where I know a couple that actually went through that, where the guy was the breadwinner, was working, you know, 8 a.m. to like 9 p.m., but was pulling in, you know, bread. And, you know, the family was good, but the wife, well, they're divorced now, but the wife was like, you know, that was a big issue. It's like, but then how do you balance it out? You know, you want me to work, provide all this luxury, or you want me to be home more? And so that became an issue. And she did cheat, and she should have left. Because the fact is, at the end of the day, if you're not happy, you're saying, Floyd, it's not that easy. Well, guess what? So are we saying cheating is easier? Because the act itself may be easier, but boy, the aftermath,
it's worse.
It's going to be a lot, man. It's going to be a lot. And the thing is, we can act like we're islands, but no man is an island, or woman, however we want to say it. Your actions definitely impact other people who are connected to you, whether you want them to or not. And it definitely gets even more messier when you have kids. So the fact is, you have to be willing to say, someone is, Jesus is like, you know, we're not going to blame emotions, Jesus, at all. We're not going to blame emotions.
No,
we're not doing that. And he said, what is a one-night stand? What is a one-night stand? A one-night stand is a selfish act where you chose to cheat. That's what, if you're in a relationship. Otherwise, if y'all both single, one night stand is a good time for a lot of people. But when you are in a relationship, it is a decision. That's what it is. It's a decision, no matter how impulsive, no matter how much you want to consider an emotional decision, since we are just really on that today. It is still a decision. Okay.
That's been a key word for today.
I mean,
but it's a decision.
Like a visual aid. Like, you have this one object that belongs to two people, and only two people. It's entitled. It's rights, like a king and a queen. That's their throne. It's theirs to be given to. But then say like he steps off for a second. You just chipped off a piece that's not even entitled to anyone else but you two. You deliberately took what belongs to you two, and you gave somebody a piece of what belongs to you. Like, it's an agreement. And if you cannot agree to what was committed, which is a committed relationship, if you cannot agree that it's going to belong to those two parties, you need to remove yourself and allow that person to be with somebody that understands that this what we own, these rights belong to only the two of us. It's not a stock option. You know what I'm saying?
I get what both you guys saying. You have the professional, you have the therapist, you have yourself, Erica, which is a very educated woman. But then you have the man. Nobody heard from the man yet on this topic. The man. I mean, it's made. I ain't the professional. It's just me, just giving it to you from my point of view.
Thank you, man.
I don't believe.
Be a man.
I didn't read his comment though. I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about on the podcast. I don't believe that a person can. It could be your fault when a person cheat on you. But I do believe that things could happen in that relationship that can cause you to feel unappreciated, to where something happens to where you may, step out. I still don't believe it's the other person's fault. But all I'm saying is I believe things happen in that relationship to where a person starts to feel unappreciated. A person doesn't feel like, he's being valued the way he feels, or treated the way he feels like he is. And then I think somebody was talking about when you work a lot. What I've come to realize is the more money you make, the less time you have. And the more time you have, the less money you have. So you have to find.
I was raised. My dad.
No, I'm not. It's not about being raised anyway.
No, I'm saying the least work you do, the more money you make.
No, you not. No, hold on. Let me break this down to you. If you're a doctor if you're making that type of money, this is data that you don't have a lot of time. You on call. So the time with family may not be there. The more money you make in life, not about just a regular dude. We talking about income. We talking about the people that's professional athletes, all that. You don't have a lot of time. You're away from your family majority of the day. So you're going to say that the person that's working at, let's just say Burger King, he has more time with his family than the person that's a doctor or lawyer.
But
You
that
make me-
person, but you,
I
but
I
the-
promise you.
My dad,
Okay,
when my dad
so-
worked at the
hold
railroad,
on.
he was gone all the time.
Okay,
All
so
the time.
what I'm saying,
But
is,
it's not a blanket. It's not
It's
like
not a blanket
for him to
because the
just be
person-
like, oh, so that's not. It's not.
I'm
just
not saying-
something that could be so generalized. It's not. It's not like that.
They got some runoff scenarios, but I'm
Uh-huh.
saying majority of the time, the more
See,
money
that's
you
the
make,
thing
the
you're
less
saying
time that you
majority.
have.
that's not true.
That's
because-
not true.
because
Man,
if
that's
you
not true to
are-
who?
I don't know.
Because
I'm
with
not
Ken
saying
on
it's
that.
you know what
That
this
is true.
topic-
I
you
would
know-
prefer that you make your point about the cheating than to make your
Okay.
point about just the example on
Okay.
the work. That was
Okay,
just
so
an example.
I'm
Come
gonna
on.
stick with my point on the
Okay.
cheating.
Because
Okay,
what
I'm gonna stick to the point on the
saying
cheating.
is, this sounds like another topic called about financial literacy, because the object of the
Look what you
game
did,
is
kid.
to be able
I know, right? My bad.
multiple sources of income to where you don't
Ah,
have
okay,
to-
okay,
So
you're
when
right,
you-
Erica.
before-
You're right.
when
Y'all
you
right. Y'all can have
approach
it.
retirement, like when they say, "Oh, you know, when you
Shit,
get your first
COVID,
house, you
COVID
go
didn't
sell-
happen.
Keep that
God
first house.
damn.
Get that house.
Okay.
Boy, don't have
Erica,
any-
you're right.
that's
You're
why
right, Erica. You're right. Because people are working from home now. You're right. Leave that alone. Let me go back to the point about cheating.
And I'm like,
I'm
how
gonna
many
stick there.
businesses do I have where I'm growing my income to decrease the amount of hours that I work? So let's talk about financial literacy. The
I'm
goal
just
is
stick
to
with
work
that,
less,
man.
make more. That's the goal in life.
Okay. For
All
sure.
right. You're right. You're right. Y'all got me. I lost that one.
Can
Yeah.
it not be your fault, Ken? Can it be your fault?
It is, man. You just gotta own that shit. You know, you gotta own it when it's your fault. And
No,
this time it's
the
my fault,
cheating
and I'm
part.
owning it.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
the cheating part. Okay, let's stick with the cheating. So therefore, the same way I said, you have to own it. When you fuck it up in a situation, you just gotta own it. And I'm not saying that it's never gonna be a person's fault, but if you're not happy, I do agree with you. You can have the decision to leave.
Mhm.
But when there are children involved and things like that, sometimes a person can stay because of their children and still feel like, okay, this person not giving me what I need, and it opens up a window of opportunity for a person that's, you know, listening to you, hearing you vent, which you ain't supposed to do that.
No,
But I'm just saying it happens. I'm just saying that's a real thing.
We
Unless
know it happens. That's why we
Right.
talking about it. People
Right.
cheat all the time.
And I'm not
Like-
saying this for me. I'm just being devil's advocate.
Fault.
Unless
Like people
it is
make
an
those decisions all the time. That
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay for the kids. I'm gonna stay because I know that I don't want him or her, because it's a him or her now. Dudes are
Yeah.
taking 50% now too. Okay. So the thing is, it's like I don't want to leave because I don't want to give them my stuff. I don't want to leave because I don't want to leave my kids. Okay, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, it's still a decision. And when I say you can leave, that's short answer straight to the point. Because I get tired of people trying to blame other people for their decisions. But the fact is, there's other options. This is a multiple choice. Okay, I'm not, that unplugged or insensitive. There's conversating. We could talk about this. Let you know that I'm unhappy and whatever the case is. But ultimately, that it goes back to what you said before. That vulnerability. That is the risk that you're taking when you enter into a relationship with someone. That if you have to leave, you might have to leave some things behind.
That's true. That's true. I like how you circle back to what I said.
All right. Okay.
Floyd, did you see that comment from that young lady?
Yeah, the long one.
Yes. I didn't know
Yeah.
if you wanted to address
Yeah. I wanted y'all to talk about it. It was gonna block y'all out a little bit, but she said leaving my husband after 9 years was the hardest thing I ever done. Had to leave everything I owned and my kids too. Life is way too complicated, and I had to leave with absolutely nothing. There's people who choose to leave and end up homeless and on the streets because they were trapped in a controlling and damaging relationship. What advice do y'all have for people to deal with a situation like that?
Okay.
Go ahead, TR. That's you.
Okay.
So first and
back on there.
foremost, yeah. So first and foremost, definitely sorry that you had to go through something like that. But I'm also believe it or not, happy that you were able to get yourself physically out of it, because the fact is, I know that it may have been hard for you to leave all of those things, especially your kids. The thing is, you're explaining a situation, and this is only by surface level from what I'm reading, so I'm definitely implying some things. But from what you're saying, you might not have been around anyway. You understand what I'm saying? Because of what the risks that are implied by what you're saying. In other words, if you would have stayed, it could have ended tragically, kind of like what we just saw with the article that Ken posted about the 22-year-old. So the thing is, it's like, I'm going to be very direct with you, and I'm going to tell you what I hear and what I'm thinking may have been the case. First and foremost, we have to start paying attention to the signs, right? Early on, we have to start learning to trust ourselves more to pick up on the signs. You have to train your intuitions. You have to train your instincts. They're innate. They are there. But if you do not train them, if you do not use them, if you do not believe them, you don't trust them, then they dull out. So you have to learn. It's things that I'm pretty sure you might have reflected on. And the thing about it is, hindsight is 20/20. So I'm going to discourage you from being hard on yourself, from judging yourself about what you did not pick up on, what you should have picked up on, how many times you should have left and whatnot. That's not going to do you any good anyway. But what I am going to encourage you to do is to learn from that experience and realize that there are some times when you probably had an indication of some sort of feeling, a thought, or something, and you probably ignored it. And so for that simple reason, I'm going to tell you that at the end of the day, while it may not always make sense, and I don't want to get too technical, but it may not always make sense, know that your subconscious is always working so many more times over your consciousness. So sometimes when you get that feeling that you need to do this, we need to do that, it is more important for us to learn how to trust that instinct and then question later. You know what I'm saying? This is like if you're in a dark parking lot and you're walking and you get that weird feeling. So you kind of get your keys ready and you get to moving and you get to that car quickly. You don't know if something that you ain't even see it, but you have a feeling this is just not the vibe for me. And so you get to safety quickly. And then usually when you get to your car, when you get moving, you're at ease. So there may have been some times when you felt that indication and you didn't listen to it. And so therefore you found yourself in a situation that was what you're describing now, right? And so then it got so far, so you was in survival mode. And I can only believe, based on what you're saying, that you felt like you had no other choice but to leave. It sounds like it was one of those self-perseverance, life or death situations, because as you said, you ended up homeless and on the streets. So I don't know anybody that's gonna jump out of a situation that's even remotely better to jump into that. You know what I'm saying? So the other thing is, it's about planning, right? So instead of just jumping out of it, plan.
Have an exit plan.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it doesn't have to be overt. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's something that's just knowing the resources that are available to you, because there are resources that are available for individuals who find themselves in situations like yours specifically. So having those resources already in place so that when you do decide to, you are actually more prepared for the landing when you jump.
Yeah. And you know what, for people in this area, I do know those resources. I will post those resources on the Kickback page. If anybody is in that type of situation, I will post that on the page tomorrow morning. So if y'all do know somebody that's going through that situation or whatever, I'll post that information for them so they can call and have contact and see where they could go from there. Because, you know,
bro,
a lot of situations, it do be like that.
Let me add something too, man. You know, this is a very serious topic. And I don't really, you know what I'm saying? The advice that I have is don't be afraid to let someone know. Like, I know a lot of times that, mama, what you doing? A lot of times that people would say, if you do this, I'm going to kill you. Or if you do this, you know what I'm saying? I believe like a lot of times people don't really be knowing what be going on because they so afraid to talk. Don't be afraid to let someone know what's going on so they can help you or get you some help. If that means you don't have to go back to that house, then, you know what I'm saying, you got to talk. Because like I say, you hiding bruises, hiding, you know what I'm saying, abuse, that's not going to help the situation. That's going to continue it. You got to, you know, step up and be like, look, I got to get out of this situation because I don't want anyone prolonging abuse. Yep. We got to, at some point, we got to stop it. And don't be afraid to talk and speak to someone about it. Like, I mean, a close friend, you know, a relative that you can trust. Find someone that can help you get out of that situation. You know, and like they said, exit plan. Don't stay too long because sometimes, man, you know, when they knowing you getting ready to exit, that's when they do whatever it is that the devil comes into their body and tell them to do.
And that's
So
what
I
she
just
said too.
yeah, don't stay too long.
She said
But
the
the
exit
thing
plan
is,
always fails.
the always part, that's what gets me though,
I
because
didn't read
that
that.
you're coming from and again, this is trying to be as sensitive as possible to what you're saying. It's coming from a defeated place already when you feel like it's going to always fail when the other person wants it to
Yeah, what's
fail.
going
You know, and so when you're entering it already defeated, then chances are you are sabotaging your plan also. And so the thing is, it's like to be in a situation for that long and end up in a position where you feel like you have to just leave in that manner, right?
Mhm.
Then that means that the plan needed to be devised earlier. My instincts were telling me things earlier, you know, and so I hope that you learn to trust yourself more, because again, regardless of if you listen to yourself or not, there are some signs, some indications that you may have ignored way early on, and now no matter how ugly this is, you actually are able to say, I was right. I can trust myself to be able to recognize and to feel within me when this is not the best situation for me, when I'm in danger, when this is probably not going to go the way that I want to early on. That's why
Right.
it's important to exercise that muscle so you can trust yourself. But at the end of the day, if you have gotten to the point where the exit plan always fails because the other person, and yes, if they find out, it can be dangerous. All the more reason why, like Ken said, you might want to get some people involved. And when I say people, I don't necessarily mean friends and mutual friends or family. You might want to get authorities involved. Honestly, you know, you start keeping up with your information as well. And abuse is not always physical. So they may not always have marks and stuff, but emotional abuse, trapping people physically, so not necessarily hitting them, but you know the whole deal. It's kind of like kidnapping, to be honest with you, or whatever they call it when you keep somebody against their will, right?
And also cheating is also it can be other things than physical too.
Yeah, and I saw that it was a
Yeah.
niche.
Yeah.
And like I said, with abuse and cheating, it doesn't always have to be physical. And to be honest with you, when it comes to cheating, not to be jumping off of this young lady's thing, but when it comes to cheating, y'all define what cheating is, by the way, in y'all relationship. Okay. Because some people think texting is cheating. Some people think, anything where you're confiding in this other person about some personal things, that are past platonic, whatever, they're going to consider that cheating. And then some people honestly only consider cheating being if there is actual copulation, right? So you have to make sure y'all know what cheating is to y'all and have an agreed upon definition of what cheating is too.
Yeah, I don't think people discuss that as far as what cheating is, and then what I'm saying, when they have that conversation with each other and be like, talking to other people, is that cheating? I think you have to. I think people kind of scheme over that, you know what I'm saying? And if it happens, it happens, and we'll just come to that crossroad if it does happen or whatever. But like you said, some people consider texting cheating, but I think it's to a certain extent. Like you said, if it's more like, if you hit your friend up and be like, oh, what's going on? Happy holidays. And it's like something like that. I don't think you consider that cheating, but that's not me. I guess that depends on the person in their relationship. But I think that's how cheating starts, as far as, with the texting and the more, the conversation. And I think it leads up to other things as far as like physical and stuff like that. So I think once you recognize it at the beginning, it can lead up if it's not stopped.
I mean, it can, but it doesn't necessarily lead to that, because I mean, you can have friends, what I'm saying?
No doubt you can.
Friends of, I mean, I know a lot of times we tend to focus on friends of the opposite sex, which, I'm gonna be honest with you, cheating happens with everybody at this point. People cheat with people that are the same sex as them. And, I've heard guys debate on whether or not that's really cheating. You know what I'm saying? Like, some guys are like, oh, no, I'm not worried about that. Some guys are like, no, that's cheating too. Again, I think the cheating discussion is a boundary discussion, to be honest. I think that's a part of the boundary discussion, where we drawing lines on what is acceptable and not acceptable to us in our relationship.
Yeah, to each his own. I think to each his own,
Hey, Floyd, I gotta say this too. I mean, I think we gotta be more careful, man, when we doing the selection process. Like, when you choosing to who you want to date, who you want to let into your space, you gotta do more discovery, man. More discovery on these people. It gotta be more than just, oh, that's Pookie. from the north end, or that's Pookie from the south. It got to be more. You got to do a little bit
light
more.
on the south, okay? Hold on.
I
Hey,
think
I'm just saying that's north and south. We can say the west
that's
too.
Pookie from the
Shit.
side.
It don't
Hey,
matter what side. It's just Pookie.
I think who you choose to be in a relationship is one of the most important things in your life. One of the most important decisions in your life that
Oh,
can really
definitely.
affect you. You know what I'm
Shit.
saying? Who you talk to, because like I said, you might talk to somebody and you might ignore the red flags, and because you like them, that person might be a abusive person, or you know what I'm saying, or that person can cheat and all that, and that can do something mentally to you. That can affect you.
Floyd, stop babysitting it, man. Go on and say what you really want to say, man. What you saying is almost there, but you're missing one thing.
No, look.
Also, who you open them legs to? Go ahead, man. Stop playing with it.
Yeah, look,
Not who you date. Who you lay with?
We talked about that as far as your resume. When you finally find that person that you like and y'all into each other mentally, physically, everything is all good. But that resume, when they be like, you know, let me look at that Facebook page and that memory pop up when that person said, you know what, fuck all these hoes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna play a play. And they see that and be like, yo, you know, I'm not trying to be in your business, but I seen a memory pop up where you talking like, fuck all these hoes.
That's how they felt at the time. How dare you judge a person for what they were going through at the time?
Okay, one thing about social media.
Definitely. My boy said, hit him with
you want this, you want this, you want this. And
that boy say,
you do that and you do that. Like, social media, I'm like, social media is also your credibility. Some of these people social media to another level, especially when it comes, like, you say you want this one thing, but you post that you want this one thing, but everything else that you post in conjunction completely is contradictory. That drives me crazy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But it depends. Like, I think y'all putting a little bit too much. Like,
I
mean,
not everybody, but there are some people where I'll be like, "Oh, this is just too much."
Let's keep it a buck, though. Let's keep it a buck. Y'all, we don't do. I mean, they got some dudes that do it, but with social media, a lot of women use that platform to show their ass when they you know what I'm saying. Just every picture is the ass picture. Every picture showing off their body. So therefore, if that's what you showing off, I can't respect that, man. Why can't you just take a picture of your face? Why can't you take a picture fully clothed?
They don't think their face is the most flattering part of their body.
So, but I'm saying
to insinuate what they proud of.
Man, well, whatever it is you proud of, I'm saying don't be mad when you attract something that you really don't want, because you showing up.
You think if a chick posts nothing but ass pics, she's gonna get the right guy?
You go with the right stuff. That might be the right guy for her. She might want one of them dudes. That's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, I don't know. I just think, like, if you start going into that, like, oh, I'm looking at their social media, I see a memory pop up that says this and that and the other. It's like, talk to the person. My answer for all this is it depends. I'm gonna be honest with you. It depends.
Well, just a cornerback really quick. My advice for Asia is, I don't know exactly the extent of the dependency towards your ex or not soon to be ex-husband or husband in relationship, is to give yourself grace. The thing that you now have to do is give yourself time to heal, but also be intentional. So if you, like you said, like, you don't have the kids, work on finding a way to get your kids, but mostly work on a way now where you need to work towards being more financially independent to be able to provide something for not only for yourself, but for your children. But if he has the kids and they're okay with him, but it was just pretty much the danger mostly lied with you two, take this time to be intentional on creating a plan, like Floyd say, finding resources that can help you in the meantime, like, you know, to have you get into a place where you're not homeless, things of that sort. But just be real intentional about the plan that you're making for yourself. And if you don't know what that plan is, at least start getting those questions going to say, like, what's the first thing I need to do? Like, first is shelter, first is work, like whatever it is you need, just use this time to be intentional. That's the only way that when all this works out, you're going to be able to have that level of grace and be able to forgive yourself, forgive yourself for the marriage not working, for the fact that, you know, I'm pretty sure it's hard for any mother to want to leave their kids. You want to be intentional so that you are able to forgive yourself and have that grace in the end.
For sure.
I respect that. Good insight, E. Good insight.
I'm not a professional.
Let's move on to one of the last topics. I'm gonna save a couple topics for next show because this show's been pretty good or whatever. But When do y'all think is the proper time to bring a person around? Since we were saying she don't have her kids, or I don't know, the situation, or whatever. But when do you think is a proper time to bring the person you're dating around your kids? And we talked about the 8-month situation with the guy earlier, and seeing what happened with that. But when do y'all think is the proper time to actually start introducing your kids to that person you're dating?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I go first on this one.
Yeah.
As a man, I feel like the right time to introduce my kids to a woman is when I know that I want to be serious with her. When I feel like, hey, I'm getting ready to make a decision that, hey, you're gonna be my wife. We're gonna be serious. Like we're gonna, take this thing to the next level. Like we can't just be sleeping around. It got to be that we're heading in a direction which it matters how you treat my children now before I say I do. Because you got to find out how she interacts with your children at some point.
At some point.
So when I know that I'm serious about her and I want her to be in my life for a long time, what the hell did you do?
Yeah, I don't know what she is.
But anyway, when I know that I want to be serious with a woman, that's the time to introduce her with my kids, because that next phase, how she treats my children, is going to decide if I say, hey, baby, here's this ring, or nah, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and bounce, because it matters how you interact with my children.
Yeah, I think so. You know what? When before I met my wife, my son, he didn't know nobody. He didn't know no female I was talking to. I had one incident, then I had my son, and I brought him to a chick I liked or whatever. And me and this female, we had like a small argument. She kind of tapped me on my arm. It was like a small little punch or whatever. My son, he was like maybe 1 or 2 going on 2. He seen it. He started crying. He was like, "Don't hit my daddy," or whatever. And that, I swear, that affected me. That hurt me. And we left or whatever. I took him home. She apologized, but I couldn't talk to her no more after that, because my son never seen, like, you know what I'm saying? He never seen nobody like hit his dad, even if it was like a tap. But that just made me say, you know what? I'm not introducing no female around my son until, I get serious. And when I started dating my wife, I don't even think she met my son till he was almost maybe a year into like talking. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's been so long ago, but it was a long time before she even met him. And like Ken say, as far as a guy, I think, if we want to be serious with that female, when we have the communication and everything else, we in love, our goals are pretty much similar to what we want in this relationship, I think that's when we do start bringing that female around, because now we need to see if you're going to treat our kids how we want it, like how we want you to treat them. I don't want you to treat my kid like some second fiddle, or whatever. So I need to, after this step, after we have this conversation and where we want to go. Now I need to see how you go treat my kids. Now I need to see how you gonna care for my kids. If you're gonna love your kids like you love me, that's gonna be the next step. That's the next important thing before we take this marriage serious and stuff like that. So I think from a male's perspective, when we cross that road, when we get serious and we have that communication about what we want to do and where we want to proceed forward in this relationship, that's when we can start introducing our kids. And then how you treat our kids, that's the next step. Because if you don't love my kid how I think you should love them, then it's not gonna work out. I'm sorry.
My dogs.
You better love my kid like it's your kid.
I know, right?
It ain't finna happen. It ain't finna happen a lot. You better love my kid like you pushed him out or pushed her out.
Hey, TR, before I turn it over to you, what I see a lot of times is when you're dating women, they tend to let you meet their children right off the bat,
ASAP.
And so, I mean, as a man, if you haven't really allowed me to work to prove to you that, because I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not too many good men out there that's gonna love your children like he love his own. That shit ain't coming as often as you think it is.
True.
Women think that you can just meet a man and be like, oh, you can meet my children. You don't know if this man is a pedophile. You don't know if this man gonna be, whooping your kids all crazy and shit when you ain't home. You don't know this. So why would you take what's supposed to be the most precious thing in your life and just turn it over to a dude that you don't even know? Make sure that he worked for it. Make sure that he earned it.
Especially in that honeymoon phase when he trying to do everything right just to get you, just to bag you. Yeah,
I mean, and at that point, listen, at that point, he's gonna tend to be that perfect guy around your kids. But
Exactly.
once that phase is over, then the real him shows up. So I believe that you gotta know who he is. Like you gotta get that dude at least 8, 10, damn near almost a year before you around my kids. Because I
Exactly.
mean, at that time, people change. Here it is. I have stepchildren, and I promise you, it's never been a day where I haven't constantly worked and tried to improve that relationship every day and figure out them children to know, hey, what can I do? What am I not doing to reach you guys? Like that's the same way I put into my marriage is the same way you got to put into them children. You got to really put in work to get to know them children, develop a relationship one-on-one. And I ain't talking about one of relationships when you're around a mama, you friends with them. I'm talking about behind closed doors when, hey, it's just you and them kids that if she allow you to watch them or whatever, that's not the time for you to be no asshole to them kids. That's the time when you really need to buckle down and get to know them children. Because too many men are fucking around playing with these little kids, fucking people kids up. And who do you blame it on? I blame it on you women. Because all y'all seeing is he fine, who he this or who he that. When you haven't even really took time to get to know what kind of man are you dealing with.
So
does he even take care of his own kids?
Claude and Ken, boy, this is your stance every time, Ken. The little fast
Hey, it
women,
is, goddamn.
the fast women. That's where he go every time.
See, I'm coming from him with my personal testimony. Go ahead, Hunger. I'm about to come from. Go ahead.
Okay, so all I'm gonna say, well, not all I'm gonna say, but the way I see it, first and foremost, in my dating time, but or even in my playing time, like I didn't play that with my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Up until recently, I had one kid for a hot 20 years, and she will tell you, nah. It just if it wasn't an opportunity for me to do what I was doing where she wasn't exposed, and it just didn't happen, and that was a choice that I made because it was an example that I was trying to set for her. I've never been the type that wanted her to see just this in and out or whatever, and it's not like I even had it popping like that, but I just feel like it gets confusing for kids, period. So once me and her dad separated, it really was a wrap. And then even if I did have a situation, which I did have a situation where I was actually hanging out with someone and we ended up dating, but that person had to come to my house during daylight hours, and it was an actual introduction of this is such and such, this is such and such, and it was like that. And this is a person I had been knowing by that time for probably, I don't know, 5-6 years. You know what I'm saying? So this is somebody that I'd been on prior to and after, but it still was a matter of it's going to be a formal introduction of this is Mr. and whatever when I'm ready for that to happen, right? But I do believe that it depends on age. And I could be aging myself, but I thought we all in our little 30, 40 situations. So sometimes you have kids that are just, they're not young. So if they're not young, then I don't know if it's that big. I don't know if they're diddling the kids, Ken, if they grown. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I do believe it depends on age as well when it comes to it. And I also think there's another dynamic that's not being considered. Sometimes you have people who are friends because like I say, I meet people a lot of times hanging out, like we have mutual friends, we all hang out and whatnot, and we're actually friends, and then sometimes things transition, right? And I know y'all like, well, we're not talking about that. I'm like, well, yeah, but sometimes in those environments they may already know the kids because y'all already have been friends for a while and stuff like that, so they got exposed to them and so forth. So I think it backs back to my answer of it depends, basically. So
I have no kids.
Okay. All right. We seen.
I can come at y'all but with a different few angles. I have actively not let when I have, for the most part of my dating life, I have raised my sister. She is gone now, but I will tell you, a person in college living rent free in my house, I could not bring no dude in there. If I did, I had to make sure she was sleeping when me and him were dating, because I was like, no, I'm gonna go to your place. You ain't coming to my place to my sister, and she my sister. Okay, so 12 years difference. And all that time, never once did I ever allow someone to come over unless it was fully established. She's probably met 2 people in all of my years of existence, and she lived with me for a hot minute. And even then, they would come and they would leave before the sun went down. Like they'd be there, wouldn't be anything inappropriate, because I didn't want to set that example, making her think that that was a normalized way. Even when my brother got here to America, I really ain't had no life, because I'm like, I'm not gonna let you. I know he's not, but I don't want to give him the image of him thinking like, if you start dating a girl, it's okay to behave. So to me, it's always, I have to be that example. Now, like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm innocent. Like, I was strategic about it. If you come here at this time, you got to leave at this time. And if you try me, you will never step
Yeah, rules for this.
Like, you will never.
You will never. Because it took us
voice got deep and everything.
Time to get comfortable. If you cough too loud, if you bark too loud, you are not allowed to come back.
Hey, hold on. Did you say if you come too loud? What?
Cough.
Oh.
Wow. I had to. Hey, I thought I heard you say that.
If you cough too loud.
My bad. My bad.
But also to be devil's advocate with your
Put that hand over that mouth.
I don't know, maybe because I have a motherly aspect. I have dated multiple men who immediately brought me around their kids. Immediately. Even went on one trip, and then one with the one.
Ooh, y'all taking trips together.
Yeah, he was a gentleman. He booked me a separate hotel room, him and his son. It was a whole little, you have to meet my son. And I think this is going on the third, maybe fourth month of us dating. But, I was Miss Renee.
Okay, Miss Renee.
But this person invited me around. The other person, like with my ex, whatever, invited me out to the public pool to go swim with him and his son. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it was just like, I have been in those situations where they immediately brought me around, like with no hesitation, in less than 6 months. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't. But for me personally, I can honestly, safely say, if I decide to have kids, I know I'll adopt. But if I decided to have a kid, like once I get that kid, I know I probably won't. I will not allow someone, because I wouldn't allow it with my siblings. I'm really not gonna allow it with my own child.
Well, Erica, I mean, I was gonna say something like, it depends on age, like what you were saying, TR. Like, if they older, we're not talking about young adults. We're not talking about 20 and stuff, because they can make their own decisions.
But
I'm talking
matters.
about. No.
It still matters.
To me, if they're 20, it don't matter. It don't matter when they're 20.
That I was around kids who were
No, but I'm saying, like, if you got a full-grown adults that's in college, your dating life doesn't really have anything to do with them, in my opinion, as a man.
She's 18.
No. I'm just talking about.
She was 17.
I got you. I'm just talking about what TR was saying.
That's still a kid.
If they're 20, if they're 19, if they're past 18, at that point, I've done my job. I'm talking about when they're from ages 1 to 16 or 17, it matters to me, because I'm setting an example as a father. I don't want my daughter seeing me with different women in and out, and I don't want my son to get that impression that it's okay to be that type of way as a man, to be dating multiple women. So the thing I'm saying is, like, that leaves a lasting impression on them children, because they grow up being just like you, thinking it's okay to treat women like that, just to keep dating women after women. So as men, we have to do a better job of, setting a good example for our children, because half these kids out there right now are kids that's my age. I know they mamas, I know they daddies. And these the same little kids that have no respect for adults, have no respect for women. And I just can't raise my children like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very important that we get it right. Like, so bringing your kids around just any man, anybody that want to, disagree with me, that's fine.
Any parents bringing them.
Yeah, any parent want to disagree with me, it's fine. Yeah. But I'm telling you that at the end of the day, you're going to keep having cases like this where a man didn't, play with your little kid while you were at work. A man didn't done some crazy, what I'm saying? It's going to be all those different cases, because y'all not doing the work. Y'all not finding out more information before y'all allow these men around your children.
Okay, and I'm talking about. I'm not doing the same thing. I can tell you in the past year and a half, that's 3 men.
Shit, nah, fuck that. Hey, but anyway, I'm not saying it don't happen with women, but
let me not say year and a half. It's been 2 years. 3 men, less than 6 months. No issues bringing me around their children.
But I'm gonna tell you, Erica, men feel more safe with bringing their children around. No, it's not exception. But I'm saying But listen what I'm saying.
You cannot be biased at the end of the day.
I'm not being biased. I'm just telling you the
A child
truth.
will not understand. A kid
I see.
not understand, but a difference between a man and a woman.
I see what Kim is saying, because what we see on instances as far as like TV. Okay, so I could go back to a couple years ago in Houston. This guy, the boyfriend, he ended up taking the little child, throwing the little child in the canal, lied to the people on news, crying, talking about where she's at, blah blah blah. It ended up being him throwing the little child in the canal. It was another instance in Houston when they had the mother or something. The guy took the daughter or something like that way to Arkansas, killed her, had sex with her and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Stuff like that. So it's been instances as far as women bringing guys around their kids, and these guys are doing these things, but you know, we haven't been seeing as far as women. Women are more.
That's what's being reported. You have to know that that's
so
what's
many,
being reported.
There's so many true crime series. I am a true crime advocate. When I tell you it's coming from both ends, you got a season.
But this is what's being reported. Like
I'm not saying. Listen, y'all. So I'm not saying women don't do it. That's what I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. When it comes down to, it's different levels to it. When we talk about crazy people killing kids, it go both ways, men and women. But when it comes down to a person molesting and playing with your child, that's more likely on the man. It's not more likely on a woman that a woman going.
Based on your report of things that you. What facts?
Okay, so
based on the news
so I'm saying. So you're telling me. I'm not saying women can't do it, play with little girls or whatever. I'm not saying that.
Boys.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. But I mean, I got a real life story that I can tell y'all. Like when I was a little boy,
but I got real life stories. That's your story. That's the story you have.
I'm gonna have to find the stats on this.
The thing is, what I think is the bias that's showing up is that one kid. I'm being honest. Like I told you, that's your perspective. You go there every single time. So that.
Hey, I'm just saying. I think
I respect your ability, your right to have that view. But what I'm saying is that when y'all say, especially when Floyd just said, man, you look on the news and this is what you see. Exactly. Right. I was just talking to somebody about this earlier. When we see things that are posted, we're like, man, this is happening so much more. Oh my goodness, can you believe that? And it's like, do you know how many of them stories are not reported? So you really are just going by what's reported. So I'm not even trying to tell you. And then this time I'm not even trying to do the whole. But girls, you know, and I'm not even trying to do that. I'm sitting up here being peaceful. All I'm saying is that it's people. It's horrible people that make these decisions and do these horrible things, and that people need to be more mindful, more intentional about who they're dating, who they're exposing their kids to. Okay. Not just women, not just men, people.
People.
Okay, I agree. But do you say more women rape little kids than men?
No, I'm not saying more of each. I'm saying it just happens, and I think that if one happens, it's a problem. If one happens, no matter who did it, it's a problem.
Like again, that's why you're the professional. I'm just speaking on what I know. You're the professional. You can keep it. What? Go ahead, Eric.
12 seasons of Evil Lives Here. 12 seasons. That's just one. I binged 12 seasons in 2.5 weeks, and I'm not gonna tell you how. I watch more true crime series, probably more than I watch church. Let me stop. I watch church every week. But I'm just saying, I binge true crime series. I am fascinated with events that have happened, even if it's grotesque, even if I am like Floyd, you love aliens and all that conspiracy stuff. I binge true crime series. When I tell you the stuff that not only men do, but women do, it's crazy. That's why I'm like, man, as much as this foolishness I watch, no, I know.
Well, man, look, man, this is a great show. I hate to wrap it up. This is a great show. Man, we had Trina. She great. She gave her therapeutic side and stuff. You know what I'm saying? She broke it down. I ain't gonna lie. You set me straight on the cheating thing. Whatever. I just, you know, sometimes on a conversation, I just need an answer or whatever. But the cheating, is it your fault? You know what I'm saying? You know, I had a different opinion, but you know, you set me straight on that. And I agree with you on that or whatever. You know, but like I said, man, I appreciate y'all for tapping in on this Friday, man. You know, I'm wishing y'all a great holiday. You know, Christmas, Hanukkah, all that good stuff or whatever, man. And I just want to thank y'all for tapping in one good time, man.
For sure. It's always a pleasure. Like I said.
Everybody have
Oh,
a good
hold on, Trina. Can you tell the people again how can they get in contact with you, just in case they want? Because you know what I'm saying, the Courtney chick, she wanted to know if you was local, but that don't matter.
Okay, so you can reach me either through my website at www.therosecenter-bmt.com. You can also email me directly at trinarose@therosecenter-bmt.com. And you can always hit me up on my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram, tag at the Rose Center BMT.
Yeah, if y'all look on the kickback, I will post her information tomorrow. And also, Ken, I want people to know if they in the area, if y'all ever come in Southeast Texas or whatever, can they you make one of the best salads, man. I've been seeing your salads and everything. So if they in the area, how can they get in touch with you to like get one of them salads that you be making, or they just gotta just send you a friend request or something like that?
Yeah, hit me up on Facebook, message me, let me know, you know what I'm saying, time and date, when you want it, stuff like that. I usually like you to let me know a day before so I can kind of clear my schedule up so I can make it. But yeah, that's how they hit me up, man, on Facebook.
Oh, I'm sorry, Floyd. If I can, one more thing, I forgot, if it's okay.
Go ahead.
We were talking about it earlier when you, me, and Erica were talking. And so I did want to make sure that everybody knew that Pop Psych has just dropped the first sweatshirt. So if you are interested in picking up merch, we have the t-shirts, but we also have our first sweatshirt that's been dropped, and it's really fly. I'm proud of it. So if you are interested in picking up any merch, just inbox me and we can work on that. I do deliver. And I do send it out of the area as well. So
for sure. I don't know if Erica is ready to tell her information yet. She has a lot of things going on, and she says she's waiting. So, Erica, do we still need to wait on your information? Is it still stuff? Or can you tease us a little bit? Like what?
I mean, after January 14th, I will be able to drop that bad boy.
All right, for sure.
What I am working on promoting is a Who Wants to Come With Me trip. It's my travel agency. I've actually been booked and busy before the launch, but there's just a few things I want to get done. So I was thinking a fun activity or a fun way of just getting people out the house is maybe doing a cruise or something for 4 days, and just whoever wants to come, they're more than welcome to come on the trip. I'll be able to help them handle their bookings and any other travel needs they may have. So yeah, that's like my next interest.
Big adventure.
And tax deduction. So,
for sure.
And for those with those stereotypes, is an upcharge for commission. No, there is not.
Hey, Floyd, me and TR, we gonna have to sit down, man. We gotta work out some things, man. Cause she thinks, you know what I'm saying? She be on, man. We gotta sit down and talk, man. Me and you.
She tried to dissect you. She tried to dissect you earlier, dog.
Yeah, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Can't
you
like better.
You so biased.
Don't do
but you know me and you know we go back. So you my girl. So
the first step to progress is admitting one's denial. I'm so proud.
That's what's up, though, man.
All love, man. Hey, Merry Christmas to y'all, man. Much love to y'all.
Man, y'all have a good holiday, man. I appreciate y'all for tapping in on the show, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Bye.
For sure.
All right, y'all.
All right.
All right, man. So look, man, that was a dope show, man. It was another banger, man. That was another great show. That was episode 122. 122, 122 or whatever. And like I said, man, if y'all missed it, y'all could catch this on Spotify. Y'all could catch it on Apple Podcasts. Y'all could catch it on Anchor. Y'all could catch it on whatever it is where a podcast is on. I'm on that iHeartRadio. I'm on everything. If y'all want to watch it on YouTube, y'all can watch it on YouTube. If you want to play it back on Facebook, you could do that too, man. So apparently you cannot miss it. If you missed it, you can watch it again or whatever. But man, that was the show, man. I'm hoping y'all have a great holiday. I hope y'all have a great Christmas, man. It's cold out there. Y'all stay warm. Y'all bundle up. Appreciate you, Miss Christine. You know what I'm saying? Christine, I don't think that was you. I think you made a joke on the last show about the chick that I talked to that was France or whatever. That was not you. All right. So I already know. I know that was. I know how that chick look. She ain't look like you. I'm gonna tell you that. But I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Shout out to my boy Bear, man. He has a podcast too, Bear With Me podcast. Y'all can check that out. He was on the show last week. He's been on a couple shows, and he's gonna be on a few more shows. And if you want to be on the show, man, just inbox me. Just let me know. Say, man, look, North End, Florida. I want to come on the show. I want to chop it up with y'all, man. You could come on the show. You could do it too. You know what I'm saying? You could be on here too. You could chop it up. You could be on YouTube. You can listen to yourself in the car and do all those things. But man, I'm finna finish sipping some good vodka, enjoying life. You know what I'm saying? Manifesting good things out there. And I hope y'all do that too, man. So I'll check y'all later. I'll see y'all next Friday. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'll see y'all tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow, I'm going to be back on here live only on the Kickback Podcast page. I'm only going to be on the Kickback Podcast page tomorrow. It's going to be a live session. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to come on, y'all could come on. We're going to be talking about all kind of things. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be having some fun. It's going to be Christmas Eve. So I'm going to see y'all. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. All right? So anyway, man, y'all stay safe. Peace. Stay warm. I'm out of here.